Well, I guess so.
All right, so this is Steve, and we have another interview, and I want to show just a little bit of where we are. First, that's the lake on the other side of those trees down there. We're in Lakeport, and this is called Hamburger Hill because there's a McDonald's, a Kentucky Fried Chicken, a Burger King, and a Taco Bell up at the top of this hill, so they call it Hamburger Hill. All right, you want to introduce yourself? You can say your first name or your last name or whatever you want.
Hi, I'm Doris Goodrich.
All right, Doris. So I first met Doris a few months ago, and she was staying at a place down on Main Street. And recently we found out some interesting things that the people who run the place, who are the Patels, anybody who knows anything about motels and hotels in California knows about the Patels, the Indian people. They were charging her twice as much money as they stayed me when I was there between places, because the place I was getting ready to move into wasn't ready yet and I needed a place to stay. They were charging me $1,400 a month for a nice little unit with a kitchen. And how much were they charging you and your daughter?
$100 a day.
$100 a day. Twice as much money for the same exact place, which we're going to deal with later. Because they've run out of money now. So it's the 24th or 25th of the month, and you ran out of money. So why don't you tell me what's been going on with your homelessness recently?
Just struggling every day. No, we never asked anybody for money, but a couple times, one guy Emma got the first. She was sitting at the park, the gazebo park, but at the end. And this guy came by and gave her $12, just dropped it right in her hands, all rolled up. And then a few days later, I think not too much, a few days ago, another guy came by with $2, and wrapped inside, though, was a big hunk of marijuana.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gave you some weed.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm doing it, but it's just hard for me to suck, but it really is a pain reliever.
Yeah, for you. Now, you said you have back pain that's pretty serious.
Yeah, I know.
So we were talking about you recently had a birthday, and when I ran into you and your daughter down in the park, you said you had a birthday, so I said I'll take you out somewhere and get you something for your birthday. I feel real bad for you guys. But you've, as they say, got more months than you had money.
Right.
And somehow you ended up being put out of the inn down there,
Yeah.
in on Main Street, and there's a 20% chance of rain tomorrow, or 30% chance of rain the day after that, and a 20% chance of rain the day after that, and here you are out of doors. So what's the plan? What did you guys, go ahead and just be honest, where are you staying tonight?
Oh, some kind of shelter. We're not sure. When we get back, we should find more. Between my daughter Cole and Emma.
And you have two dogs, two little small Chihuahua dogs.
Yeah.
And so you were staying in between a couple buildings. There's a place on Main Street that gives some food, so you're able to get a little breakfast and coffee. I don't know if you got coffee in the morning and like a little lunch tray that they make up for people.
Yeah.
So,
you mean the Harbor on Main, right?
I think that's what it's called.
That's why I went and got the other food.
Yeah. So now you're not able to stay in there during the day, but you can kind of get a little bit to eat.
Yeah.
It's a place for, I think they let teenagers in there, I think from like 15 to 22 or something like that.
Yeah, all I had to do was write down a paper for me, a little thing, and then for her. So we got it for free. That's all you gotta do.
So now you came out here from the East Coast. Why don't you tell a little bit about that story? How many years ago was that?
Well, I was 15 years old at the time, and it was we all made a plan to go to California.
Right.
So because it was getting too cold back east, we had big snowstorms.
It's cold there.
Huh?
It's cold there.
I used to climb the fence. There was called a something market. I'll think of it. North Shore Market.
Yeah.
And I climbed the fence from our apartment building. We were the managers, by the way, and that's where we got the first German Shepherd. Anyway, I climbed the snowdrift to the chain link, and just climbed down the other side and went to the market and came back home.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what my brother was doing. But he was only 8.
So now you live near a market. When you were in Maryland, to what was your childhood?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts,
Yeah.
sorry. And
It is a sister state, though. So.
it is. It's
Yeah.
nearby. I get them mixed up. I'll be honest with you. My geography's not so good, especially for the East Coast and the Great Lakes regions. I get them all mixed up.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them that start with the letter M. That's about all. I know.
Michigan is one.
Michigan,
Yeah.
Massachusetts, Maryland.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're all kind of small too compared to California.
Yeah.
I mean, when you came to California, you know, it'd take you 15 hours to drive from the northern California to southern California to go from Humboldt. Well, actually, it'd be Eureka, all the way down to San Diego. You could drive 15 hours straight on the freeway.
Well, we landed in Lompoc, California.
Lompoc?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's where I finished my high school.
All right. So you were there. Was
Yeah.
that with your family then? You came here or what?
Yeah, yeah. Well, still my family, yeah.
Okay.
And then later on, I went to Santa Maria Hancock College.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I graduated college 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that college is what part is that? Central California, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And you said you've been around the state a little bit. You said you were in Santa Ynez at one
Yeah.
point, which is kind of more desert.
Yeah.
So that's another thing people don't realize in California. You can have the redwood trees, you can have desert, you can have ocean, you can have lakes, you can have mountains, you can have pretty much every kind of weather and every kind of geography in the state of California.
That's right.
Yeah.
And well, we met a beautiful black couple on the plane. We didn't know what we were gonna do, and got to know each other.
Yeah.
And she says, "Well, you may stay with us till you get a place."
Wow.
Yeah.
So you came here with who came here originally?
Well, Mom, Dad, and my little brother, and our German Shepherd Inca, and me.
And so your plan was to come here and start a new life in
Yeah, yeah.
California?
Yeah.
Get away from the cold weather?
There's another reason to move. I had a lot of colds and stuff, and I used to stand there with a register. Remember the old registers?
Mhm.
Feed? And I had to stay out of school a long time too, but I caught up. Yeah, pretty interesting life.
So now let's talk about your struggles with homelessness. There's a couple shelters around here, and you have your 2 little dogs. There's one shelter not far from here that's the old juvenile hall, and they're limited on space. And then there's the only other shelter I know of for sure is down in Clear Lake called the Hope Center. And so have you stayed at either one of those shelters?
Well, you're talking about in Lakeport.
Lakeport.
It's called. I think. Well, see, I left my purse. Anyway, the name of the street is 1111 Wayland Way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
used
I
to be a
see.
juvenile hall.
Oh.
Yeah, because it has a fence around it and like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
basketball court in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
middle. And you might notice that it looks like a juvenile hall. If you
Yeah.
pay close attention to it, you'll see. And that's actually why some people who are homeless don't want to stay there, is they have very bad experiences when they were kids here.
Oh.
So the youngest people that I know of in this county that I've worked with, a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old that were arrested at 4 and 5 years old. So that was their first time that they went to juvenile hall. And a lot of people don't want to go over there because they have very bad memories of what it was like, and they haven't really, they can't rest there. But I think they've changed it and they've got some better management now, so it's supposed to be nicer.
Yeah.
So have you stayed there?
Yeah.
At that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how was that for you?
Well, they had a very thin blanket, and I guess something else. But I had my own blanket, but it was like metal. It wasn't as bad as the ground, but
Yeah.
it wasn't soft as a bed either.
Like a metal cot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was upstairs, downstairs, but nobody was upstairs.
Okay.
There was a lady across from me, and then there was a phone charger there right by me, so I changed my phone, charged my phone. The next bunk over on the bottom, this lady, she put curtains up, tucked it in the dump bunk because nobody was there.
Yeah.
And then she had a small light and she did her thing. And I mean, I wasn't really watching her, but I don't know if I got to know her name, but she was really nice.
She wanted a little
Quiet.
privacy, it sounds
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Yeah. Now you got your dogs. Someone was talking to you earlier today, so I kind of overheard of the possibility of maybe putting one of your dogs in a shelter or something. Was that so you could find a place to stay or something, or what's up with that?
I'm not going to give up with Carla.
Yeah.
I had her. I had her mom and dad, and I had her since day one. She's very attached to me.
Yeah, your dogs are.
And then Magic does and I got him young. It was at the Midport Safeway. And by the soda machine, this couple, well, actually dad and daughter, and he had 5 kids. And I said, oh, what a cute little puppy. And he was about 5 weeks old in 2 days. So that's 37 days.
Yeah.
I got him young too. So, and they passed him along as a Chihuahua. Nope. Maddox, half standard dachshund and half Jack Russell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do the DNA and all that.
Yeah. Your dog does look like a Chihuahua, but I could see a mix of Dachshund and Jack Russell. Yeah. And so you have a husband, and your husband stays somewhere. He has his own place, but for some reason you're not allowed to stay there because there was some kind of issue. It's just for him, and so.
Well, it had nothing to do with him or me.
Yeah.
With the guy that tried to give me a reference, I will never do that again.
So it gave you a bad reference, and they didn't. You were going to get hopefully your own place.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't mind, you do have an income, right? You have some kind of.
Yeah. Social Security.
Okay. And so that was the thing that surprised me is you had about $1,500 a month, and your daughter, she gets Social Security too.
Yeah.
So between the two of you, you guys had $3,000 a month. And when I went over there to that place, and I asked them if they could give me a deal because I needed a place to stay for a couple months between places. The place I was moving into had got trashed, so they needed to redo the floors and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And so what's the guy's name that runs that runs the motel down there?
Which one?
I don't know, the one we were at. Because you guys were a couple doors over from me. That's when I first saw you.
Well, actually, it was a blue one right there.
Yeah.
And then you were right across from us.
Yeah, I was right on the corner spot, and I got him down to $1,400 a month. So I was able to get it for $1,400, and then you told me you were paying them how much?
$100 a day.
$3,000 a month.
No, one. Yeah.
And that's the same size thing, and so now you're out of money. You don't have any money, so you have no money to live on. And I feel like they cheated you. They took advantage of you because they charged you literally. And I showed you where they charged me $1,400 and $62 for a whole month. And I think that's awful. So that's one way that some people take advantage of homeless people is they might take their money. And then you were talking about last night, why don't you just give people an idea how hard it is to be homeless? What happened to your dog food last night and your stuff?
I know, and more stuff.
Go ahead and tell the story.
I don't think she stole anything else. She just broke into my daughter's chips and ate them.
Well, you guys had a whole bunch of bags. You were down there by the, there's a gazebo down there in the park.
That's where we were.
And you guys left your stuff to go use the bathroom, and the lady was nice to you.
Yeah.
And you told me her name or whatever it was, and that you came back and she had stolen your stuff.
I'll never trust her. Well, I will never talk to her again.
Yeah. So those are you say some nice stories, but then the other story is sometimes you turn around and your stuff's gone. And now you don't have any dog food.
Well, I do if I could stop by the apartments.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah,
Side
we probably could. Yeah, I think
Okay.
we're charging up your phone while we're here.
We'll warn them.
So getting you some Kentucky Fried and getting your phone charged up because you had no phone. Tell me the experience of getting the phone. It's one of these free phones that you get from the little tents and stuff.
No, I actually got it US Cellular.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were able to get a decent phone.
Yeah. That's a good phone.
The free phones don't work very well, but they're better than nothing. But they actually don't work very well.
Called a Motorola.
Yeah, so that's a decent phone.
Yeah.
And have you ever had a problem like where you've lost your ID and you've had to go get your ID all over again?
Yep.
Let's tell people what a horrible experience that is. when you don't have an address and you don't have a phone and you lose your ID or it gets stolen, go ahead, tell people what that's like.
Okay, well, my daughter, the older one, she dumped my purse on the carpet. I was sleeping on a recliner, and I don't know what I think she was just visiting. And she lost my ID. So we looked, and my husband and I looked after she went her place. She was renting a room, and we're looking everywhere, like, where is it? So I finally just gave up and went back into, what do you call it? Social. I can't think of it.
Well, social services.
No.
Or
to
DMV?
Get a new deal. Yeah.
DMV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
DMV. And took a picture. It was just a paper picture then.
Right.
And then I had it within a week.
Oh,
A
that's
new one.
not bad.
Yeah.
They didn't make you go get a birth certificate or something? They just got a replacement?
No.
Wow. Yeah, that can be a real drama for people. They have to get the birth certificate, then they
Yeah.
get to get the ID, and then
Yeah.
before you can get the food card, you need to have the ID.
Yeah.
So now you have a food card, and you have medical, I guess, right?
I have covered with everything.
Okay, sounds good. Now tell us a little bit about I don't know what it's you and your daughter right now. What do you think's the main reasons that you're homeless? I mean, what's kind of happened? How'd you end up on Social Security? Do you have like a diagnosis or a disability or something?
Yeah. I worked for a long time. I was actually a school teacher. I was I worked in the food service a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mostly as a waitress, but I did cook sometimes. Yeah. And what else did I do? Well, maybe I'll remember more. Anyway, go ahead.
So you ended up homeless though.
Yeah.
And how'd that happen? Like,
Well, paying $100 a day, that puts it away pretty good, doesn't it?
well, I mean, when's the first time that you guys had a homeless that you were homeless?
Well, what we should have done is actually, before that happened, we should have had resources. But we didn't. But we're gonna look for it, hopefully.
Uh-huh.
Tomorrow's another day. Everything's closed now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
But it looks like someone's helping you. There was a lady down there where I picked you up that was helping you maybe to find something. But when's the first time you ended up literally, did you have a car? Were you able to stay in a car ever?
No.
Okay, so,
We want to get a car. I don't drive, but she can. My
Yeah.
other daughter, or my other daughter.
yeah. But being on the streets and like having to sleep outdoors, like between buildings or under any kind of
Yeah, I
shelter
know.
or any kind of porch, like
Right.
when's the first time you experienced that? Do you know how old you were or when that was, the very first time you were ever homeless?
I'm trying to think. Before that, I think we left Danny's place. That's what you were trying to think about. The younger one on.
Oh, the guy that manages that place?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was this summer, some point in time this summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I also fell on their property,
Oh.
right in front of the office.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I hit my head. I think you might be able to still see the scar. See?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
That's pretty serious.
So my daughter and I were thinking about, still not 6 months yet, we're gonna go call Yash Law
Mm-hmm.
and sue him. And I can't believe that the youngest member of the family owns the hotel.
Well,
Actually,
it's-
motel, it's one level.
Yeah.
Hotels are lots of levels.
Yeah. Well, they have the 2-level place and they have the other one next door.
Yeah.
And then I don't know who owns the one that's next door to that, but there's 3 in a row and they're all owned by the same people, the same Patels.
They own
think.
they own the Anchorage Inn too?
I think they own all of them. And then there's the one across the lake, and it seems like what it seems like is these East Indian folks, they come here and they buy up a lot of the properties, and so they kind of control. And then we were talking about the one that I was staying in, and you were right there with your dogs and stuff when we first met.
Mm-hmm.
Social services places a lot of people in there. So we had to deal with that lady that you had across the street from, or across the walkway from you, that was clearly very
Michelle.
seriously mentally ill.
Yeah, Michelle.
And she
and her
was
daughter Hannah.
yelling all the time. She was schizophrenic, and so
Yeah.
she was screaming. And didn't what was the funny thing? Who did she say who was her boyfriend? Remember?
Well, one of the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, one of the Backstreet Boys. So she would sit there and play Backstreet Boys music, and she was pretty large, very large lady. She was not at all what I would call attractive, to be honest. And she would just sit there, and she was very low functioning, and she would scream sometimes at nobody. There would be nobody there, and she would start screaming and flipping off, and then she would talk about she's going to go to the Backstreet Boys, and one of them is her boyfriend. And then she had a daughter that stayed with her. And the thing that bothered me was like Danny, that was the guy that ran the place, or does run the place. And then I'd see other families put there. I remember, if you remember, there was the one lady, and they had a young kid, and then they had a baby, and then they had the man, and they were right across from you, and he would scream and yell all the time at her. He was always yelling at her. He would, and she was such a nice lady. She was so quiet, and they had the little baby.
I know.
And then he would be changing the diaper, and he would be yelling.
And they also had a little terrier dog.
Yeah, they had a little dog. And he would be yelling at the baby, like, why do you keep on going to the bathroom? Why do you keep on making a mess? And it's like, oh my God.
It's a baby, for God's
It's
sake.
a baby, you know? And then there was the guy next to you, again, placed by social services, and he would just drink massive amounts of beer all day long.
He could barely walk. He was staggering.
Barely walk. By middle of the day, he would drink like 24 beers a day. I don't know how he did it, but he ended up selling his car to buy more beer. And then they had the lady that moved in next to me for a while with 2 autistic kids that were nonverbal. And at no point in time did I ever see social services come by to work with any of the people.
Yeah.
I saw some people come by giving food. I saw some people come by giving diapers. I saw some people coming by giving groceries, but they never went into the place to work with them. They never talked with them. They never helped the babies. They never helped the mothers or the dads become better at parenting. And it was just chaos.
Yeah.
It was chaos. They're screaming and yelling and fighting, and it was just like, why isn't there a social worker here at this place? There should be a social worker right here.
Right.
Because almost every single person that they put there, you know, because I stayed at the other place next door first, and then they said, oh, you could have we can get you a room next door for the $1,400, and we can give it to you for a month, and it has a kitchen in it. And I said, oh, cool, let's do that. And the next thing I know, I was surrounded.
You had a full kitchen?
Yeah.
So did we.
Yeah. The next thing I know, I was
Big
surrounded by
refrigerator, too. Yeah.
screaming, yelling, cussing, fighting, just crazy. It was crazy. And I thought, where's social services? If these people are all mentally handicapped, then why isn't social services here to help them?
Right.
It didn't make any sense to me. Well, it still doesn't. But I find that this county doesn't really do very much for the homeless. And down there at the park, I mean, last year, I don't know, you probably saw how many homeless people were there last year.
Yeah.
There was way more.
Yeah.
And they just, their plan was to arrest them and start arresting them. And by arresting them, and oh yeah, so what, didn't a cop come by and tell you guys you can't stay there last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what happened? You had all your stuff there?
Yeah, we walked way, well, not too far, but to some office buildings that were closed for the night.
To stay over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we set up the sleeping bags that our new friend gave us, and we slept pretty comfortably. So I put the blanket down, then I put the sleeping bag down and a cover over me, because it's outside.
Yeah, it's outside, but it was upstairs, and
Yeah.
it's like there's an overhang, and you're kind of private up there.
Yeah. Then about near 8 o'clock, some lady came out and says, hey, we're just barely waking up with no coffee, of course, and said, you can't stay here. This is a public place. So we took about a 20-minute, which isn't bad, so to bring the bags down. There's 2 flights of stairs. So, and then we ended up in the park.
In the gazebo.
Library Park, gazebo,
Yeah. And then the cops came by and said,
well, in the daytime you can stay. but when it gets darker, you gotta go.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to leave, and there's nowhere to spend the night. And I admit, there used to be, like last year, there used to be like 4 or 5 people, and there's phone chargers.
Yeah.
So people will go up there and charge the phone. But
Yeah. That's what we did.
yeah, so you were there, but then they told you, basically, when I come back, if you're still here,
Yeah.
what are they gonna do? And they could put you in the car and take you to the shelter. I mean, they could transport you,
Yeah.
right? But it doesn't seem like they want to help. At least that's my experience. I don't see them really helping a lot of people.
Mhm.
So anything else you might want to say about being homeless, or what it's like, or any advice or tips to people? Or
Well, certainly not fun.
no?
Just put layers of clothes on is all I can say.
Yeah. And difficulty staying safe
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
keeping your stuff safe.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
I think and difficulty with transportation. Do you use the bus? Have you
Yeah.
had any success with the
Yeah,
bus?
Circle, Native Minds,
Right.
they gave us a bunch pass.
Oh, okay.
So we got that. Yeah.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, now the buses don't run on Sundays,
No.
and they're very limited. They don't run a lot. They shut off after a certain time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been down in Clear Lake and got stuck down there? Because the bus doesn't come back after 6.
Wow.
Yeah, if you ever get stuck down there, that Walmart, that bus leaves at
Yeah.
6. That's the last bus for the night.
That's right. That's where they gather too at Walmart.
Yeah, that's the big
Buses,
gathering
yeah.
station. That's where you'll find a lot of homeless people down there. Yeah. All right, Doris, it's been very nice talking with you, and hopefully, somebody learns from your experience about what it's like being homeless in Northern California.
All right. Thank
All right,
you.
Thank you.